And one of the consequences of this law of rectilinear propagation in terms of waves is the production of what we call shadows. Shadows is a direct consequence of the rectilinear propagation of light. A direct consequence of the rectilinear propagation of light. And what that means is that light sources, when confronted with opaque objects in their paths, will cast uniform dark shadow. When there is a source of light, it will cast a shadow. I will explain how. So the sun hits the moon and hits the earth. When the moon is in between the sun and the earth, it casts a shadow on the earth. What do we call that shadow? Ellipse. There's a sun here, and that's a moon, and that's an earth, right? What happens in normal times? And it hits the earth, right? Say the moon is here, or the moon is here, or the moon is here, right? It's hitting. What happens when the moon moves in between the sun and the earth? There is a shadow that's formed, right? And that's called an ellipse. Guys, make sense? I'm going to erase this. This is not part of the, but that's what shadows are. So what does that mean? So there could be many different kinds of sources. So there could be a single source, there could be a double source, and then there could be something we call an extended source. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. I'm going to make all my sources be orange. So this is my single source. This is my double source. And this is my extended source. Okay, extended in terms of spatial dimensions, just extended in space. When I have a single source and I also have a object in front of it, and then I have what is called a screen. So I will have the object here and a screen. And I will have an object here, and then I'll have a screen. Of course, none of these are drawn to scale. So then what happens is this source will cast a shadow that looks like this. Its shadow is going to be that. This is the source. This is called the object. And this is the shadow. When you have two sources, let's say source 1 and source 2, I may have to make this bigger. I just realized. I'm going to try to draw one with black and the other one I'll change the color. So there's going to be one ray that comes out, and then I'm going to have another ray that goes this way. And then I'm going to do a blue one that shows this one. Yes, of course, it's not quite right. Kind of like that. Do you see where these rays are going? So they're going to cast two shadows, two kinds of shadows. One is going to be called, and the other one, which is outside, it's going to be something like this. And here and here. It's hard to draw it in 2D. It's going to be something like that. This spot is called the umbra, and the outside is called the penumbra. So the inside U, the dark one, is called the umbra, and the outside is called the penumbra. So when the ellipse passes us by, there is a part where there's total darkness, and then there's parts where they're not. So the middle one is called umbra, and the outside is called penumbra. So now that we have an extended source, actually I should have drawn this with a straight line. This should be thinner. Can we make this thinner? It's kind of like this. Make it thinner to make sure that this is thicker. So in this case, we will have one ray that goes like this, and the other ray that goes slightly over, but not too much. And then the second one, and then from the other side, that, and this one that goes like that. So in this case, the shadow that we're going to get, I'll make this one bigger too, is actually going to be circle in and circle out. Again, the outside is going to be called penumbra, and the inside is going to be called umbra. There we go. So those are three different kinds of sources that we necessarily concern ourselves with. A point source, an extended source, and two sources. This is called an extended source. This is called a point source. And this is called 2 point sources.